Welcome to Table Talk. I would like to introduce my first guest for today's show, a man who believes in paying it forward, Mr. Joseph Stotts, who is responsible for the new playground at the Morrison Housing Authority. Welcome to the show, Joseph.
Thanks for having me so much.
You're welcome. Well, let's dive right in. You've got such an interesting story to tell. I love the way you want to give back from the childhood and how you grew up, and you're really interested in paying all that forward. So what life events planted the seed for you wanting to redo the playground at the Morrison Housing Authority?
Well, I think obviously, losing my mother last year was a big event in my life, but I tried to use that in a positive way. We all deal with grief differently, and obviously I had my time with that, and I chose to move forward in thinking about how I could give back to where I was raised and where I came from. And when I began to think about where that would be, the Housing Authority was just the premier location in my mind. So, but losing my mother, but then using that as a catalyst to do something positive in my life, that was really my goal there.
So tell us what age you moved in there and what brought your family to live at the Housing Authority. Let's start with that.
I believe we moved in there, and I say we, that was me and my mother, when I was about 5. And I grew up going to Morrison School there. I had a great, many wonderful teachers at Morrison School that I would also like to credit to just my initiative on this project like this. People like Wanda Gann, Patty Haston, Donald Miller, all these people. It's all these people in our life, like our teachers and our leaders that really inspire us to do things. So I give those folks credit. But we lived there from the time I was 5 till I was about 16 years old. And I had a great childhood there. Not to say that I didn't have many disadvantages when it comes to what we could afford to have in our home, and the food and toys and all that for a child. But it was a wonderful experience because it was a wonderful community. And Patricia Bassham, who I worked with on this project, she was even director of the Housing Authority then when I was living there. And so I think, again, as I've told her, that's something to be said for her leadership in the community and how well she's done to create these living environments, not only at Morrison and McMinnville, but on Rebel Hill and other locations that are just were or have become safe havens for a lot of folks that couldn't afford affordable housing in other areas. So again, I just give all thanks back to these people, including my mother, who I really feel like just was able to create a sense of resiliency and hope within me to be able to want to give back when I had the opportunity.
So yeah, as a single mother, I'm sure she had many obstacles trying to provide you with what you needed growing up, and then probably needing to work and provide food on the table. And but sounds like she really didn't let life get her down. She just kept moving forward and trying to do the best for you.
She didn't. My mother, she was very strong. She was very courageous. She was very loving. She was one of these parents that they're at all the ball games, the ball practices. They're helping you with homework. They're always encouraging you, telling you obviously you can do anything you want to if you try hard enough. And so again, just created really instilled a lot of hope within me that I could at some point maybe have a family, be able to have a good job, a flourish in my life, And so it really instilled a strong seed within me to grow as a person.
Well, and you also mentioned some wonderful names there from Morrison Elementary. I know many of the people that you named off, and it's would be interesting to see how many lives those teachers have impacted over
Many,
the
I'm
years
sure,
for the
many.
good.
Yes, ma'am.
They've touched everyone I know in that community that grew up going to that school. They'll name those names with a smile on their face, and got lots of love from those teachers. So how did you even begin the task of fundraising for this, or how do you even start? Because you know it's going to cost a lot
Right,
to
it's gonna
provide a
cost a lot of
playground.
money.
Yes.
Well, I will tell you this, I really kind of just resorted to what would you say, my trade of choice on how to raise the money. And what I mean by that is, my background's in mental health. Of course, I don't do case management anymore, going door to door visiting people. But I pulled from that experience on how to raise this money, because basically what I did is I used that as how to approach people and spread my idea to them in the best way I knew on how important this project was for the community, not just for myself, for the community. And so I went door to door, did different businesses in the community, explained to them what I was wanting to do, how much money I thought I needed, and my intention. And I'll be honest with you, I was just thoroughly amazed how easy it was for me to knock on doors and walk away with money. And for a great cause, though, so it was just thrilling to see just how much people really believed in the idea. And not just the McMinnville community and people within the McMinnville community, but people in the Morrison community. And people really believed in my idea. And so once you begin to run with something and see yourself make a little progress, a little bit more progress, it just makes you that much more confident that you can just do more and more. And so my initial goal for this project was $3,000. When I got up to around $2,200-$2,500, I discovered pretty quickly that was not going to be enough money. And so I expanded my horizons and reached my goal and just continued on with other places that I thought might donate. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up raising about $7,000 for the project. Once I got up around 55 or 5,600, which was at the point where I could purchase the piece of equipment that I had been eyeing on for a while, I wasn't satisfied with that, because what that was is it was a end cap swing, an end cap slide, and then the circle slide, and then a small swing portion. Mm-hmm. Well, when I looked at that, the only thing that I saw, obviously, that was wonderful, but that we needed to finish it with another end cap. And I had a gentleman, just so turns out, from the Morrison community, and had ties to the Morrison community, Mr. Joey Jacobs, who made a donation there toward the end of my project that enabled us to buy that end piece to basically, in essence, I would say, to complete the project. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't be more thankful for him and his willingness to speak with me about the project and his contribution to the Morrison community. I've already heard that he's made other very generous contributions to the community, having been from there. Mm-hmm. And we're just so thankful for that.
Yeah, he's kind of a native son that has come back there somewhat and still paying it forward himself.
Wonderful thing that he's done.
Yeah, there is a lot of people there that really, I'm sure, did believe in this. I, think about driving down 55 there and looking over and seeing a few lonely swings, there. And I guess, I really did not realize how many children lived there that utilized the playground. What are the numbers of children that currently would play on the playground?
Well, I would say right now, just guesstimating, having been there through the setting up of the playground and then just driving back by, and then I would say, you have 40 to 50, mm-hmm.
They have friends over.
And they have friends, so it could be more than that. But, the old swing set, as you referred to, that's the one that was there when I was a child, and it's still there, and it's in pretty good condition. But, I think the kids needed this. not just a play set, but to have someone that's kind of external to your community just come in and show a sense of that they care, that can right there instill hope into children. And hope builds into other things like confidence, self-esteem. And hey, I seen someone do this when I was a child, and then they're in a position one day, maybe they can do the same thing. So, aptly titled what you said in the beginning, paying it forward. So my goal is this will be a catalyst for maybe one of these other children one day to go back to their community or there and do something even more so than what I've done here, to eclipse this. That's my goal, is just building people up. That's what I've done for 14 years in working in mental health, is working to build people up, working to instill confidence back into people, believing in people. So I believe in people. I believe in people's ability to change, and obviously we know the best time that we can guide people is when they're a child, and instill those values in them.
That goes back to the old philosophy of it takes a village, because some of these children aren't getting what they need from their parents as far as their support goes. But, as you said, others can make such a huge impact, from teachers to community leaders, giving them these tools, even if it's just a safe place to go play in the afternoon when they get home from a hard day at school. It's just like a little haven for them.
Definitely, a little way to escape and kind of create their own little world away from the pressures of poverty, or the lack of a parent, or troubles at school. And so, I'm just so thankful. And I drove down 55 the other day and looked over there to my right as I was driving to Manchester, and the playground was full, and I couldn't describe to you in words how I felt about that. Other than that, it was just such a wonderful thing. And I had so many people in the community come together with me and work on this to help to assemble the playground. Many people will tell you, including myself, I'm not a construction man. I'm not good with a hammer and nails. So I had a lot of help on that. I had my company that I worked for, Generations, heavily supporting this idea, allowing me to have the opportunity to go out during the day and while I was working, and still work on this project too at the same time. And so I think that says a lot for them.
It does. That was a way for them to give added support to the community just by allowing you your time to go do
right.
that.
And my supervisor, who's Kathy Campbell, and Patricia Gaither, her mother, both supervisors of mine at work, but more than anything, friends, very close friends, and very important people in this community, how they've given back to the community, not just from a mental health perspective, but in projects like this. And they deserve so much credit for it, and just the community in general, and how Morrison and McMinnville came together, working together on this project, and made it happen. And if you look at the sign out at the playground, I encourage anybody who hasn't seen it to go out and look at that sign. There's, we had 35 or 36 donors in the end on this project before it come together. And I think we ended up, even in the end, having a few $100s left over to donate to the Housing Authority just for their after-school program to buy materials for their kids.
Yeah, that's a great thing for the community as well.
Yeah.
Tell us your mother's name as we end the show.
Well, my mother's name is Judy Stotts.
Okay, Miss
Yes,
Judy
ma'am.
Stotts. All of this was brought about by her will to raise you properly and to do her best by you. And in her memory, you've worked hard to give back to the kids in the community of Morrison. We appreciate, so good to have a feel-good story to hear. Appreciate that so much. So that's our first segment for today. Stay tuned. We will be right back with more Table Talk.